Hello and welcome back to Boston Commune.
This week's incredulous installment will feature commentary from comrades Scott, Ellie, Sarah, Chris, Avir, and myself. For news, we got Jeff Bezos blasting himself into space, the impending space junk catastrophe, and recently discovered mass graves of First Nations children in our northerly neighboring lands, before Ellie reveals the DongCopter. Then we converse with fellow Marxists Chris and Avir, representing the Boston DSA Political Education Working Group.
Please do us a favor, share this content, do yourself a favor, enjoy your Epoch.
As much as the Democratic Party campaigns on hope and change, it is a party that is incredibly afraid of making change. Now, the cynical take would be they're not afraid of making change. They actually don't want to make change. I think it's a mix of both.
I comes to a cahoot at the end.
A what? Penis.
Never mind.
God damn it!
What the hell is this? I've got a tube.
Penis. Alright.
Are you done, Jess?
Joe's not here.
Not here. It's hot as shit.
Not here.
He didn't leave us with any news. So we're just going to shoot the shit. It's going to be really quick. The Peruvian general election going on right now, and it looks like the socialist, Pedro Castillo, is going to win.
Castillo?
Castillo,
Really?
how do you say that? I don't know how to say
Castillo.
that. Thank you. Thank you.
Castillo.
I'm a dumb white person.
Castle.
I apologize.
I am dumb white person.
I am dumb white person.
The king ordered it.
But yeah, that's positive. Another thing is Mr. Bezos is going to go to space soon. And how many of us are hoping that rocket explodes?
Mr. Jeff Bezos in space.
He's going to go. He's going out there. He's going to make the expanse happen, you know.
That's right.
One way or the other.
Outer worlds.
I just saw there was as of
That big of a
today,
fan.
I forget what it's called, but it's that sci-fi scenario in which there's so much space junk that
Oh, yeah.
it's impossible to get anything
That's not a
off the
sci-fi
planet.
scenario. That's a real scenario.
Exactly. It just crossed over into reality. The International Space Station was just nailed with a stray piece of space debris today.
What?
So,
Holy shit.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
there's a
already
lot of
happening.
it.
Because like a month ago, there was that thing that almost fucking ripped through the SpaceX rocket. This is awesome. I'm sorry. I love space.
Nature
I love
has,
space debris. Everybody go watch Ad Astra. It's a good movie.
This is genuinely a scenario in which the human race is
has
approaching.
fucked around.
Yeah,
and is finding out.
this is the great filter. It's so much corporate fucking garbage
Satellites
in space
and shit,
that.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the problem is nobody wants to clean it up. It's not.
Well, that's the thing, though, is it's going to become a problem such that no one can actually send stuff into space, and so the corporations are just going to clean it up because it's very profitable to go into space. So it will get
Maybe
cleaned.
they'll make a space version of the trash wheel guy who lives in the Baltimore Harbor with the big googly eyes, and he just wheels around picking up trash.
Maybe
I want the googly
find a
eyes to be
picture.
moon-sized, so we can see them from here.
Mr. Trash Wheel.
Yeah,
Or
maybe
perhaps they need to make a leave it cleaner than you left it policy of every time you put up design your satellites such that on their way down they're gonna take out 5 more with them, plan the orbits in such a way that they'll just collide and just all end up going to Earth.
That's
take
the problem.
nothing but pictures.
That's the
nothing
problem.
but
In
memories.
0G, when those shits collide, they just make more junk.
Oh man,
You gotta
Well,
hook
okay, I guess then you would just need a big
space junk.
big neck.
Yeah,
would just
come up
need,
with a
you
You
come
just
up with
need
a
a
quick
big
solution.
broom.
Just
and
make
dust
some up on the
pans.
spot. Let's hear how you're gonna
Get the giant
save humanity.
robot that was
you could do
vacuuming up
that.
the
Make a big
atmosphere
net.
from.
A big net,
Uh,
of course.
No,
Yeah,
we get the
just have a
giant
net.
robot that
It
vacuums up the
just-
atmosphere from Spaceballs.
Yeah, basically.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's what we gotta do.
Space balls.
Yeah,
balls.
penis. Yeah, space penis.
Yeah, how would you
Space
definitely
penis.
It's definitely an interesting problem.
Okay.
Mel Brooks.
It's
is
like-
space penis.
And then it'll be
Yep.
like, yeah, just like too dangerous to even leave Earth, and then we're just trapped here, and then we can't do what all the
Jesus.
and then it's like we
It's
can't
not-
do it like the climate like change deniers say,
Yeah.
oh, we'll just go off and go to another planet. It's like, well,
This is
now
why
we can't.
aliens don't fucking talk to us.
And then,
yo.
like, half the time, like, just we get to a point where this shit starts to fall, and it's like every other day you have to run away from like a satellite falling out of the sky.
No,
Well,
see, that's
Well,
another
you
thing.
just gotta
Is,
zig and zag. That's what
Yeah.
they never do in the movies. They always just
Yeah.
run straight.
that's true. Especially when there's a train coming, they just run down the
Yeah.
tracks for some
Especially
reason.
when you're
Yeah.
a Stark and you're trying to avoid an arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a painful memory. Sorry. Yeah. Jeff Bezos going to space. By hook or by crook, we're gonna get the Expanse. That's where this has started. We can pray that he becomes the space junk like everything else. Does anybody like? I don't actually want to talk about the Grimes video. I think it's just I have.
She was just like drunk posting.
Yeah, caring about Grimes at this point is just like I don't know, guys.
Do you guys know that like
Collective
artificial
farming is not
intelligence?
a vibe.
It's like the fastest to communism. It's fucking
Yeah, what she says about
crazy.
AI doesn't make any sense. Anyways, it's I don't know.
Makes you go to
Well, this is the capitalist dream,
Automated.
right? That they constantly promise, right, but they never deliver on because capitalism can't. Like, they don't look at themselves, right? It's just like, oh, if we just keep doing a capitalism, we'll do a communism. Like, she's not the first one to make this argument. This isn't the idea that automation is going to, you know,
Oh, I
if-
see what you're.
worthless utopia is like something that goes back,
I mean,
100, 200 years.
Yeah, if Joe was
I
here, he
see
would
what you
talk
mean
about
now.
that shit. What was his name? Who was the guy?
Mr. Automation.
No, no. He was like a famous economist, but I don't remember
Fully
his name
automated.
because he sucks.
Okay.
Wait, there's quite a lot of them,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Which one do you want?
He
The
was.
famous one.
I think it was like 18th century.
18th century.
Are you
Yeah, he was like part of the British Empire or something.
I mean, that's where most of them. Was it like?
There's most of that.
Are you talking? You're not. This isn't Adam Smith, right? This is
Adam
post
Smith.
Adam.
It's Adam
No
Smith.
way.
Wait, really?
It's Adam Smith.
Motherfucker, you're serious? It's Adam. Oh my god.
Wait,
So the man who conceptualized capitalism. Okay.
I think he was the one who introduced, like, into the popular consciousness the idea that work will eventually be automated away.
Well then,
And
so
people will be
he
free to,
presented the
like-
first capitalist lie. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's why I say I can't. Well, there's two reasons I can never remember his name. One, because he has the most generic fucking name on the planet.
It's true.
And
You
two-
literally could have guessed.
Yeah, I was gonna say John Smith, but
Joe
that's,
Schmo.
but that's like
John Smith.
But that's like every Mormon and generic name on a commercial for like a credit card. So I knew that wasn't right, but it was close.
Mm-hmm. He was Scottish, and it was 1723 to 1790 that he lived.
No, you got the day. You got the century right. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We're very accurate with our dates on this show.
Sarah, did you want to go into the thing that's going on at the?
Yeah. Tell us about Tell us about the dead.
Tell
kids.
us about the weird Canada. How weird Canada is.
Oh.
But Ned Ryerson.
I kind of like discovered this in the last like 3 days or so. I wasn't sure you guys talked about it last week.
No, we didn't
No.
talk about it
No,
last week.
okay.
I brought it up, but I don't think we went into it.
Okay. So similar to the US, but also like with different flavors, Canada has done a lot of terrible things to its indigenous population.
Look up the Wet'suwet'en
First
people.
Nations.
You'll find out.
Yes. Yeah. So basically,
want to spell that for the people who can't just wing it.
Oh God.
I can look at. I can find it. It is WETSUWETEN. There's some apostrophes in
Yeah.
there, but I'm assuming that it will figure itself out. But yeah,
I would not have been able to guess that, but so that's why.
it's actually kind of phonetic. I mean, in my opinion, but yeah. So basically, the gist is that the particular thing that I am most aware of, because I did a research project about it in my French class, was about the residential school system in Canada. Just essentially, basically, just amounts to genocide with more steps.
We
Just,
love that.
Yeah, I know. It's great. Not great,
The
obviously.
kinder, gentler genocide.
Yeah, it's so kind and gentle, taking away children from like their families and taking them to places where they're going to be cut off from their tribes and their cultures and everything like that, and being like physically and I'm assuming also like sexually abused because it's the Catholic Church and
Oh yeah, for sure. That's
Safe assumption.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So then basically
I'll fill in for Joe on that one to say yes, I'm sure it happened.
I'm assuming like thousands, if not tens of thousands of children probably died, like either directly or indirectly because of the residential school system in Canada. But basically so what happened with this most current thing that's kind of like in the news is that a week and a half ago or so, like 215 dead children were found in like an unmarked burial site in British Columbia.
The fuck?
Yeah. I heard
Yeah.
that too.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
It also turned into this very odd thing on Twitter. I'm assuming like also on other platforms, but I saw on Twitter was like Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, and also the church in Canada, and also Pope Francis kind of like saying,
we're here for you, First Nations. We're here for you, and we feel your pain, but we also don't want to take like responsibility for any of this, and like actually say we're gonna do something about this. So
the impression I get from talking with people is that, because I
Canada
went to school in
sucks.
Canada, is that Canada will often end up kind of comparing itself to the U.S. and
Canada
feel
is such a
it's
joke
bad.
of a country.
Oh, is that okay?
Yeah.
Canada will often kind of like compare itself to the U.S. and because it compares favorably in those senses, it will be like, oh, right, this is great. But there's really a lot of xenophobia and then racism in Canada.
Oh yeah.
A lot of it's related to a lot of it has been related to people of Middle Eastern descent.
Yeah, there's a lot of
because
anti-Muslim.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hence the mosque shooting a couple of years back. But anyway, back to this thing. So yes, remains of 215 children found in unmarked burial sites in British Columbia. There's a particular university in Ontario, in Toronto, yes, of this university called Ryerson University. It's named after a person, Egerton Ryerson. And you know what, that kind of name, it sounds like a fucking guy who went to like
I'm Egerton
an
Ryerson.
English like boarding school and like, you know, like spits on poor people or something.
Just whipped his classmates.
Yeah, basically.
Keep up, old sport.
Yes, basically
Sounds
this
like-
guy was the...
Sounds like he ate soup out of like the skulls of like
Egerton
murdered
Ryerson.
indigenous kids.
Yeah.
Secret family recipe.
Yeah. The fact that they named the university after this guy is akin to like naming a university after like, I might fuck out the pronunciation because I've never actually heard you pronounce this, Goebbels, like the German dude, the Nazi dude. Basically, it's like as if you named it like Goebbels, sorry. I don't know what it looks like. That's one of those, okay, it's like Goebbels University. Egerton Ryerson guy is the one who was like in charge of creating the residential school system and responsible basically for what it was. So yeah, they defaced the monument in a really powerful and moving way, and then also tore down the statue eventually, and then also put a bunch of shoes around the podium that's around. I think that's supposed to represent the missing and murdered indigenous women, and also like people who are not women. But yeah, so that's the gist of it. They wanted to have the university change its name as well. In my opinion,
they should.
It would probably be easier to just name it, reattribute the name to another person with the same last name.
Like
or
Ned Ryerson from Groundhog Day.
Perhaps, yeah, maybe. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I just feel like there would be like too many like institutional challenges trying to get the name changed. I feel like if it can just like.
Oh, come on.
I'm just like, if you can find a nice person who's named Ryerson, I'd be like, yeah, go for it. I don't know. I'm also open to hearing arguments like why you should actually just change the name.
I think
because why not?
Yeah.
Because it's like just as easy to change the name. I mean, like some people are gonna be upset, but like who gives a shit?
Like in Boston, we've changed a bunch of place names. Well, yeah. Maybe not a bunch, but a good handful. I mean, like when we talk about meeting in like Nubian Square, that was not Nubian Square a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I was talking about this with some of my Canadian friends and was arguing like, look, it's gonna be annoying for like the students are basically gonna be like punished.
Like,
by
it's just like boo fucking who? Like, Jesus Christ!
Like the fucking
what?
The people who I pay for my fucking medical bill, they just changed their goddamn name and like fuck it, who cares? Like I have to now put in a different fucking address for or a different fucking name in my checkbook now. Like that's annoying, but like who gives a shit? Whatever.
It's just
I
challenge you to find like one indigenous person who was like, I would change the name, but it's just too hard to remember now. We should just leave it. That's probably
That's
the
the
best
point
thing
I was
to
gonna
do.
make as well. I was like, I don't know what to do about it. I could see either way. I would rather hear some like an indigenous person's opinion about it, and I would kind of defer to that.
I mean, I'm sorry, but they did they not put out like hundreds of shoes to like symbolizing like the dead children and then rip the statue down? I feel like that's a pretty.
How do you know that those were like all like indigenous
pretty
people doing that?
Okay, that's
just
like,
based on the fact that
splitting hairs with that argument. Okay.
Disclaimer, Sarah has fully come around on this issue, but I wanted to leave the discussion in because A, it was funny, B, it demonstrates the pervasiveness of evasive messaging, and C, it's necessary to challenge your comrades on their stated beliefs. Knowing how to engage openly and productively with your comrades will save your life someday. I don't know what day, but someday. And you're not going to get it right the first time either. You got to practice.
I mean, I think we can agree that everywhere in Canada should just be named after a character that Stephen Tobolowsky played. I mean, it's easier to just do that.
You could just name
Joke for 3
Canada.
people.
Just name Canada like Genocideville land.
Bill.
But then how are you going to differentiate it from all the other genocide vills?
Oh yeah, that's fucking.
This is what I said. I was like, just rename it to like Toronto University No. 5 or something like that.
Fuck that place.
It's really not
Number
that like
5
out of the.
University number 5.
I mean, like in New York
That'd
City,
be
all the
fun.
public
I mean, like
schools
that's
are
what
like
they do
that.
with public schools in New York City. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think it would be fun. And then they can like.
Yeah, Josh went to
did you go
public
to
school or
5?
something.
You know where I learned that? I learned
Oh, you
that
went to
on
5.
fucking Hey Arnold.
Hey,
Hey,
Arnold.
Arnold.
Yes, that's right.
I think also like I'm in my brain's in a rough patch right now where I'm like, that thing sounds hard. Let's not do that. And I think that's where that came from with that.
Yeah,
like,
honestly,
I like the idea of changing the name. To
I
be
can-
honest,
This
like
is a trophy.
finding like a really upstanding person.
I can fully co-sign that. That has been our experience with the mutual aid group, and I understand where you're coming from. But I think it's okay to like implement new principles in this case.
Yeah. I like the idea of like whenever they're like, okay, the name of this university is the person it's named after is no longer a person that we admire because either they were objectively a bad
Because
person at the time.
They did the genocide.
But like also minor things like I don't know, like maybe like somebody, like whatever. Like as time goes on, people might have different opinions about a person. I mean, this guy is a bad guy from the start, obviously, which is not what I'm saying will make more sense with what comes next, which is that saying, okay, we don't want this person, the university named after this person anymore. We will find a graduate of the university and then rename it after them, and just continue doing this every time you want to change the name.
Just call it Degree Factory, like whatever.
Degree Factory number
Degree
5.
Factory.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't want. But that was the gist of it. I think if the listeners could look up a picture of Ryerson statue, you probably find stuff because it's a really powerful image if you can.
It really is. All the shoes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
It's very
and then just like
heart-wrenching.
the I'm assuming people like really like bashed up the statue, and then just like the spray paint and like the messages and stuff it's a very powerful image.
Yes,
And
Yeah, I refrained from making a joke about how we did the same thing with like Robert E. Lee schools. I mean, just fucking take it down. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
people
fuck
are
that
weird.
guy.
They're like
That's-
my heritage. I have to
fuck
have my
off.
heritage.
They're Canadian.
If I don't
Okay.
have my heritage, then there's nothing that makes me better than black people. It's like,
Well, that is the underpinning of the argument.
oh god! All right, I was really gonna
I
take that out
just
of
want the
context.
statue to be. Just replace the statue with fucking Bill Murray punching Stephen Tobolowsky. Like, bam. That'd be a beautiful
The
statue.
video screen just playing that like at various speeds, various times a day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That would be cool. That would be like an art installation.
Canada is such a joke of a country.
Yeah,
Needed to be
to
reiterated.
be honest.
Yeah.
All right. I feel.
Let's do something else now. I've explained my thing in
I
a very roundabout way.
I call
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
We can move on to Ellie's segment.
Yeah, please.
And
I'm
then
done talking now.
Then we'll ask some questions.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like it's the earliest in the episode I've ever done my second. But whatever. Yeah, what? I'm
Is it gonna be
Ellie.
really
and you
long?
can't make this shit up. I hope not. I don't know. Check it out.
You can make it up with
This is just like this week
Figure
is
it
just
out.
like standard YCM TSU fare right now. I partially picked this
You don't
story
have to do this
because-
every week.
No, I know, but I want to though.
All right, sorry.
It's just beautiful. If I absolutely couldn't have found anything, I would have done it. I picked this partially because my sister lives in Albuquerque, so there's a bunch of people running for sheriff. No, sorry, not sheriff, mayor of Albuquerque right now, including a guy named Manuel Gonzalez, who apparently a lot of people refer to as Manny, because a lot of people that are quoted in this story refer to him as Manny. But I guess he was having like some kind of, standard campaign event last Tuesday, and a bunch of shit happened. Apparently, like some guy punched him. He claims he punched him by accident, but the real star of the event was that somebody had a drone with a dildo attached, and they flew
Nice.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, I know
That's
you'd like that.
that's
Typical
big.
fair.
Did they actually use the dildo on the drone? That is some
What do
really
you mean
fancy
use it?
flying.
I don't know.
What do you mean by used it? But anyways.
Yeah, what are you talking about here?
What do you
Like, what's
fucking
your-
mean? How else are you supposed the correct method of using it?
Hey, you can use a
It's
dildo
not-
however
Okay,
you
I
want.
correct.
That-
Let me correct. Yeah, okay. The original intended purpose, which is not the only reason you would use it. I mean, just like
Listen,
just put it into things.
I
No.
promised the political education working group that we would be on our best behavior. So I don't know how far we can go with this right now. but
All right, fine.
put a pin
I
in
don't
it,
know.
though.
Learning the original use of the dildo seems pretty educational to me.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah.
Wet
Just
ass
comes-
keyword.
All right, I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna say something. I'm not gonna say it. Well, Ellie brought up the dildos in the first place, but continue. I want to hear the rest of the story.
There was just some good quotes from this guy who's running for mayor, and he was like,
It became so distracting from the sound and everything. I couldn't really get my point across. For me, I was surprised, and it was distracting.
the other part is that he said it was possible that like the person who tried to punch him and the person who operated the drone was sent from the rival campaign of fellow Democrat and incumbent Mayor Tim Keller, and then they asked Mayor Tim Keller's administration what they thought about that, and his campaign manager was like,
No, that didn't happen. And to suggest that we were behind it,
she says,
to suggest that we were behind it is pathetic and the kind of desperation that has marked Manny's troubled campaign.
which is great. And then they also like interviewed the guy who like accidentally punched him and called him a tyrant. He was like, Manny Gonzalez is trying to associate me with Tim Keller or radical leftist behavior. I'm not a fan of Tim Keller either, and identify as libertarian. And then they
Fuck, get out of here with that shit.
I'm getting pissed now.
Maybe they mean libertarian left, but no.
No, it never means libertarian left.
I know.
Like, you're with the only
No.
group of people who mean it when they say that, so.
ever, anywhere. Yeah, and then so the only other thing of note is that it seems like the Albuquerque Journal like tried to figure out if the person that they thought was operating the she calls it a DongCopter. It's
Oh, hell
beautiful.
yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Which I think is the title of the
The
episode.
Dongmobile.
Or perhaps even they basically just like looked at her Twitter and were like, okay, well, she's not responding to us, but it's like pretty obvious that she did this because she had done some other like she had done this at like a congressional candidate thing prior to this event, and they said the journal could not reach the owner of the account, but by Wednesday evening she appeared to be taking credit for the spectacle involving Gonzalez. The cover photo had been changed to a screenshot of the previous night's event with the words DongCopter superimposed.
It really brings a new meaning to the phrase helicoptering.
Ooh,
Oh,
that's good. I like that.
So would
I like
the Pew people like to discuss the political implications of this action, what it means for politics as a whole?
Yeah.
What
What
it
are your
means
thoughts
for
on
the
a lot more
Albuquerque
fun is what
mayoral
it
race.
means.
What are your thoughts on flying dildos?
Effective campaign strategy, or
oh, the best campaign strategy.
I mean, honestly, if it was the like incumbent who did it, just like full claps. Like, well done on their part.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that would be great if they. I mean, honestly, like the language that his campaign manager used to be like, "Hell no, we didn't do this," is like almost like a little Lady Death protest.
But that's the thing about the Dems, though, is like I don't think they're interesting enough to come up with that.
They'd be like, how do I even purchase a dildo? Where do I get that from?
Where do I get a small plastic dong that I could affix to a flying machine?
They wouldn't even
Well,
know
I
how
mean,
to
it
fix
is
it. That's the
Albuquerque.
problem. They'd be like, what kind of adhesives are best for silicone? I don't know.
Here at McKinsey
Oh,
& Co.,
wow.
we believe in sex positivity. But to suggest...
Does someone have a soundboard?
Yes.
God has a soundboard. Anyway, yeah, that's all. I would have had still been Ellie, and that would also have been things you can't make up. That's not even the name of the segment. I'm sorry.
It's fine. I could
I
do
will
a
not
new.
be doing
I
that
could.
during the questions.
I could make a new jingle with
A
that
new jingle.
as the lyrics.
Those would also have been things that you couldn't have made up if they would have been Comrade hypothetically.
I feel like it needs to be like a, you know how like Spider Pig has a jingle?
Yeah.
For like DongCopter?
DongCopter.
DongCopter.
DongCopter. Flying in the dead of night.
I wish I knew the Spider Pig jingle.
It's just
Just put it in
Spider-Man,
Blackbird. It's fine.
yeah.
If the dial of ideas was turned to low for the last few years, it's quickly moving into the hot position.
Is that Dave Rubin?
It is.
They
Wow.
bring you still in recovery board from
All these high-level ideas. High-level important.
High-level
Little
ideas.
like DongCopters.
Oh, Sarah never heard Dave in the Cave.
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh,
It's
man.
not coming
It's
back
over.
tonight. Some other night.
That's-
When we don't have guests.
Okay.
I don't want to know what it is.
Just go back
It's,
and listen.
it's what it sounds like. It's Dave in a cave.
It's just me doing Dave Rubin with a cave sound on, so it sounds like I'm in the cave, and then I'm scared of bats. It's basically it. It's not. There's nothing really to it.
Yeah, there were like
I
some
can see
bees
a lot
in
of
there at one
ways that
point.
could develop comedically, so I support that idea, but not
Yeah,
right now.
He couldn't remember the difference between stalactites and stalagmites.
Right.
Yeah, that was the running joke.
Yeah,
I like
that
that.
was
I
was
like
the
that.
bit. That was it. He couldn't remember between stalagmites and stalactites. You get it? Ha ha ha.
Haha.
And then he got out the
Humor.
bats, and then he was like 400
Yeah.
years old. I basically turned him into like an ancient vampire. It doesn't matter. Jesse, you have some questions. We have some guests.
Right. Okay. So I would like to welcome to the Boston Commune this evening. Boston DSA Political Education Working Group. I'll insert applause in post to make it sound like, if you two gentlemen would like to introduce yourselves, and I don't want to host. I want Scott to do it. Scott, can you host?
How are you doing tonight?
I just wrote the questions.
What's your
I
name?
didn't-
Tell us who you are.
I didn't agree to take over the whole show. I'm just.
I mean, well, yeah. Just, I mean, you did fine. I mean,
Okay,
like Jesse
thank-
said, can you too?
Are you sure? Thank you.
Yes, you did. You did quite well.
Okay. All right.
But like
Really?
Jesse said, yes,
Thanks.
you
Okay.
did fine.
Are you
That
sure?
was a perfect intro. Okay,
I'm just
stop.
kidding.
God damn it. Yes, yeah, we are here this week with Pug, the Political Education Working Group for Boston DSA. And gentlemen, would you introduce yourselves? You don't have to
Sure,
say your
yeah.
pronouns or whatever, but if you want to keep a level
You
of
can.
anonymity, that's okay too. So
Hello. Oh man, you threw in the option of anonymity there, so now I'm thrown for a loop. No, I'll do it. Hello, I'm Avir. I'm the co-chair currently of the Boston Political Education Working Group.
And I'm Chris. I do a lot of work with the Internationalism Working Group and also starting to get involved in the Political Education Working Group.
Awesome. Thanks for coming.
yes,
Thanks for
excellent.
having
It's
me.
been a riot so far, so I'm here for it.
Jesse, do you want me to read the questions, or do you want to?
I don't know.
Or does everyone want to take a shot at...
We can take turns, yeah.
Are we taking shots?
Yeah, let's
there
do
are
round
I mean, the
robin.
first question's real white bread. How did you get involved with DSA? Whoa!
We just add wonky sound effects to all the questions, like it's fucking like it's
I said I would
MXC or something.
But how did you guys get involved
Yeah.
with DSA?
The issue here is that there's two of us and we can't see each other, so...
Rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, all right. On the count of 3, Chris, we're going to just say rock, paper, scissors, all right?
Scott, maybe you could just ask one of us.
I have one.
No, whoever
have
decides
green
this
thumbs.
will then
That's
be
my
the order.
favorite.
Whoever decides this, and
You
then
guys
it'll
can
be the
also
order.
use the chat.
Okay.
All right, Chris, you ready?
I mean, you
Ready.
could just go alphabetically.
Okay, fine. I joined DSA in 2019. I had been radicalized for a bit, and I was looking for a socialist group that wasn't a stupid little sect that was insular. And I had heard some nice drama about my local chapter, and I'm like, damn, I want to find out about this drama. And so I joined DSA and have been experiencing the drama ever since. It wasn't the Boston chapter, just so we're clear.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Chris?
And as for me, yeah, I joined up last year. It was a bit of a hectic year, as it was for most people. And after finally started to settle down, I started to look around to get involved. I just moved to Boston on New Year's 2020, so best time to move to a new city where you don't know anyone or anything. I moved up here I lived in Pennsylvania and Maryland, and I had been involved, in like friends like circles, but nothing like organized as far as trying to make actual changes. So I started doing that when I moved up here, really.
Dope.
Excellent. Someone like to ask the next question? Oh, I know. I have a follow-up. What was your original chapter where all the drama was happening?
East
You
Bay,
don't have to
USA.
say.
East Bay.
Oh, that's right. Ding,
All
ding,
right.
ding.
Did someone say, oh, that's
Drama
right?
Capital. I mean, like, I feel like maybe you mentioned that previously, but yeah, East Bay is... Boston used to be, according to some people, the most drama-filled chapter.
When I first joined the
but-
chapter, it was so fucking
I
spicy.
miss everything fun.
Oh, yeah. You know,
This is true for
you
a lot
guys
of
are...
chapters in like the 2017-2018 era, including especially the big ones.
Yeah,
Come in 2022, Boston DSA Drama Caucus.
that's right.
Oh my god.
Penis.
All they do is get together and gossip.
Sorry.
Oh, God.
I'm not here for drama, but I like hearing about it only in a tertiary sense.
Yeah, so that's the point of the.
I'm
that
sorry,
would be the point of the caucus.
What's a tertiary sense?
I don't really know. I just made that up to make it sound more than like a secondary sense.
Yeah, basically.
It's like you know a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drama is just stressful. What's the next
it's fun.
question?
It's all
How
fun
do
and
you?
games until
The
you're
next
involved.
question is how do you define political education? And what's the general purpose of political education?
Yeah, I mean, it is education that is political.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how to go much more into that one.
Yeah, we killed him.
But like, what is the purpose of? Oh yeah, just
Yeah, I know,
the purpose
yeah.
of it. Yeah, like, so what do you what do you want? What do you want somebody to take away from it? Like, what do you want the kind of?
So the way I see it is that, like, a lot of people come to socialist politics from instinct. They know the world's fucked up, and they're like, hey, maybe it should not be. But I don't think that a lot of people actually... Yeah, and that's great. But I think what then happens is that's kind of where their journey ends, which means that we have a dearth of people who have, like, critical thinking skills for socialist politics. And so I see the role of political education as giving people the theoretical tools and historical knowledge necessary for them to be able to, like, interpret things in a socialist, ideally Marxist, in my opinion, framework. So that can actively contribute.
That's our stance too.
Okay, brilliant. Right,
I mean, I don't know yet because I haven't been
contribute to
politically
strategy
educated.
discussions and, like, make critical analysis of situations, etc.
That's a fantastic answer.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
See,
damn.
you said you don't know it. You do know. I mean, you explained it. So
That's why I made it like a two-part question, because
Yeah.
it's like whenever you ask someone to define something, it's like it is what it says, and then it's like, well, what do you think it is?
Yeah.
Well, you guys kind of covered the next question too already. Like, what are the goals of the fugue? The fugue.
So yeah, I mean,
No. I think. Hold on. I need to fucking look. I don't even remember what my own questions.
Come on,
pretty
dog.
obvious.
Well, this doesn't have to be like an interview. Y'all can like.
yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like we're doing like a
what?
No, I just wanted
a fifth grade like interview report.
Okay, what are the stated goal? Like, what's every working group has like a mission statement. So, like, what's your guys' mission statement?
Oh, fuck if I know.
Great answer.
Great mission statement.
Do you want to hear ours? Ours is wicked long.
Ours is so long.
I
have them right now.
I like to make fun of ours. I don't hate
now
it.
the tables have turned. We wrote this as a group, though. Like it was with a lot of input. So I guess I'm proud of it. I'm proud that we used the socialistic principles to develop it. The mental health working group aims to investigate, discuss, and confront the deleterious effects of capitalism on mental health. We address the material and emotional needs and respect and support the autonomy of neurodivergent individuals and those who struggle with substance use disorders. Bam! Just rolls right off the fucking tongue.
Oh wait, was that it? Oh, I
Yeah.
was expecting like a treatise.
Yeah,
that's not too bad.
Yeah, I like that bad.
It's long, but not too long.
I think my grocery store had a longer one when I worked there, so it's pretty good. All right, what?
Yeah, I mean, I like. Oh, okay.
No, ask your question. Sorry.
That wasn't my question. I mean, I can ask that question if I'm talking anyway. But I like the idea of what you said. Is just what you said about like coming to it via instinct. It makes sense. That matches my experience. Not even just with just DSA, but also just with like my mutual aid stuff as well. And then it does feel like at some point you like reach a point where you realize perhaps what the fuck was that?
Realize. The sound is called realize.
Dude, I have ADHD. Don't do that.
So do I. That's why I play sounds.
We use the ADHD to destroy the ADHD.
This is just
anyway,
Scott entertaining himself.
Yes. But what was I saying?
Ouch.
Crap. I was like, you reach a point where you realize like the organization you're in is not really like self-sustaining, where people aren't really able to like teach each other as well because they either haven't been taught themselves, or they haven't learned how to teach it. So I definitely can see
like
the benefits of
A
that.
question I'm wondering is like, what would be like the first like important text in a person's radicalization that you would recommend?
Oh boy.
Every book in
Don't
Marx's
just say everything,
capital
Marx.
in
Green
German,
eggs and ham.
in the
In
original German text.
I'll be honest, my like educational focus has been with people who are already radicalized and then trying to develop them from there. I mean, I'll be honest, I think that reality is pretty radicalizing.
Fact.
You know? So in terms of like what to read in order to get there,
Or like,
honestly, it'd probably be some pop thing. Like I wouldn't suggest some work of theory, you know? It's like
fucking Le Guin, Ursula Le Guin.
oh fuck yeah. I went on a Le Guin kick recently. I'm a big fan of hers.
Yeah, we were talking about like what the Gravel Institute has started to do with sort of making bite-sized YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's how people learn when they don't have the attention span to actually dive into it themselves. Like if it's in their face and it's tolerable in terms of how much content they're getting and what the language is, then I'm all for that kind of approach. It's just very hard to distill socialistic principles and theory and all that shit into like a very concise
An Instagram
package.
slide. That's what people need, though. They need those TikToks, those Instagram.
They need them TikToks.
I mean, I do wonder how then you would make the leap from that to like actually reading something, because
It's a worthy question.
For me, it started with fucking memes, dude. Like people.
Oh god.
Yeah, you get seriously though.
People
you get
downplay the
so
role of
exposed
memes.
to all the terminology, all like the theoretical terms through memes.
Absolutely.
You
The
can.
cache
And then
of
you're
memes
like, oh, I
I
wonder what
have.
this word actually means.
When I go through like the history in my phone, like my photo library, I can see where my ideology went by looking at the memes. It's such a good marker of my progress.
I had a pretty unconventional start. My friend in Philly gave me a book called Revolutionary Suicide by Huey Newton, if you ever heard of him.
Oh, hell yeah,
Huey
dude.
Newton?
Hell yes.
As Jesse said.
Yeah, that book was like the beginning where it opened my eyes and then went from there.
Hell yeah. Huey Newton Gun Club. I don't know why Why is that a tongue twister? Huey Newton Gun Club. Like, people talk about the SRA, Socialist Rifle Association, but if anybody is listening to this and they're like in the boons and they like guns, that's another option. It's the Huey Newton Gun Club. I thought somebody else would chime in and be like, yeah, but I guess nobody knows about.
Does anyone else? Does no one here know who he is? Does anyone not know? No. So we can give a brief rundown.
I'm just confused why you're dropping the P. I've never heard him referred to as Huey Newton. I've only ever heard him referred to as Huey P. Newton.
Oh, because you said Huey Newton.
I didn't say it. Well, Chris said it.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Chris said it.
My mistake.
What is the gun club? Jesse, explain.
Well, it's like they teach gun safety and theory. Basically, it is an organizational body, but they also study socialism.
I didn't know they had a study component to them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Huey P. Newton Gun Club and the SRA, I believe, they both have that kind of multi-prong approach. I think it's pretty based. I'm not going to lie. I only realized in retrospect that we completely blew past an opportunity for Chris to dive a little deeper on Huey P. Newton and his absolutely integral role in the Black Panther Party. Hopefully we'll have Chris back on soon, because we could probably do an entire episode on Huey. At the least, we can put together a short explainer for next week's episode.
So, what drew you guys to the political education working group in particular?
Smooth pivot.
Yeah.
I got involved immediately in the political education stuff when I first joined. Yeah, just really because what I said. Like, I think because people come to it through instinct, they don't have those tools. I think, like, as a socialist org, we need to be educating people on socialist theory, and so frequently. And okay, so now I'm going to reach the point where I'm like, my critiques of DSA are going to come out.
Good.
I don't know how
Do it.
Okay.
Please.
There are like a lot of fucking liberals in the DSA.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so ideology is what you do without knowing you do it. So if you don't have the tools to think in a socialist manner, you're going to just do a liberalism instead of a communism.
And you got to combat liberalism.
Yeah.
I just want to say real quick, that was what led somebody to the political education working group. I know for a fact was somebody was being a fucking liberal, and I posted a link to Mao's Combat Liberalism, or whatever it's called. What is that? Isn't that what it's called?
It sounds like liberalism used for combat,
no.
judo.
He does have a post on the different types of liberalism.
That is.
Hold on. No, it is called combat liberalism. It's called combat liberalism, and then somebody was like, "Yeah, why don't you just join the political education working group?" So you're welcome, I guess. I mean,
now I'm curious who to. You don't have to out him, but put it in the chat, who this person is.
I don't remember his name. It was just some guy that was like, "Howdy, everybody! I just want to do some. I want to vote."
Do some DSA.
I will also add though that I think one of the things about people not having a political education is that they end up deferring important things to those who do. And so it means that there are informal power structures that develop because there are people who have the tools to present their argument in what sound like theoretically rigorous ways. And then everyone just follows them because they don't have the tools to make critiques or develop their own analysis.
Right. I've seen that happen, in particular with long time ago, Lenin wrote something about how his soldiers were running off with sex workers. And I've seen people use that specific letter, they dug into his works to find that letter and then use that to post swerfy shit. And, people who aren't very well acquainted with the material just kind of took it at face value.
I was going to ask what swerf is, and I was like, and I figured it out, sex worker exclusionary radical feminism, I assume?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Correct.
Just for the other dumb people listening to this.
Wow. We really estimate our audience.
But it's cool. I mean...
No, I'm not saying they're all dumb. I'm saying, along with me, other people who might need to be explained to them because they might not even know what TERF means. They wouldn't even have a way of figuring that out anyway. But yeah.
Which is trans exclusionary radical feminist for those dumb people out there.
They're not, sorry.
I'm using your words, Sarah.
I'm the dumb. They're not as like they're
we
less.
love them.
Anyway,
We
yeah.
love them.
Listen, we're proposing that political education for the politically ignorant. That's what we're all. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, damn, that's good.
What resonated with me about like you just kind of defer to whoever sounds right, because I've been on the other end of that where like you're doing a school project and you're like, I only got out of university like a year and a half ago, so I don't know what everybody else's ages are or if you've been in school or whatever, but like you're putting in more work, and so then other people are like, oh, I guess they got it, and then you're like, at the end of the project, you're like, guys, I need help, and everyone's like, I don't know what's going on anymore. You've just been doing all of it, and you're like, because you weren't doing anything. But then there's an issue on both sides of that, I guess.
This is what I was talking about in the peer support group. That's exactly the dynamic I was talking about. You got to advocate for yourself. Never mind.
Yeah.
I don't want to. This isn't an interview about me. It's an interview about Pug. Puging all over the place.
Oh yeah. How does Pug decide on what stuff to cover? How does it develop an education program? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm sorry. I tuned out for 2 seconds.
No, that's what. Yeah.
I thought it was a I did too. Anyway,
let me.
I guess the segue was too natural.
What is? I mean, y'all are doing a podcast where presumably you talk about political stuff. Like, where do you see the role of political education being? Whether in the org or outside.
I mean,
in the org, very important.
No. Like, as I don't know if y'all like use the term communist to describe yourself, but
yes,
cool. As socialists / communists, like, what is our role in relation to political education generally?
I didn't think you were going to ask us the same.
I literally told you this in the pre-show.
That's true.
Sure you did. We thought you were joking. We hoped you were joking.
Well, actually, oh god, I just started a sentence with "well, actually."
It's better than actually.
What was the question again?
I think it was in the last episode. I said that one of the things that drew me to Marxism was its capacity for making predictions. And so one of the ways that I think political education can be utilized in the current moment is to make predictions about like political developments that are, kind of on the horizon. It makes it easier to understand the larger systemic things and not focus on like, oh, what's Joe Manchin's fucking, I don't know, like did he eat a sub for lunch? Like maybe that's why he's so testy on the floor today or whatever. All of this shit is tied to capital in some way, I said it right. Is that a...
No, you did good. You did good.
I did good.
I approve.
You did good, yes.
But at the same time, it also, if I'm going to actually prove that there's any basis in, that Marxism is rooted in reality, that dialectical materialism is more of a science than it is just sort of like a cutesy rhetorical thing you can wear like a scarf. I got to actually make some predictions.
I don't know if predictions is the right word. I mean, I think
analysis.
Well, no,
it has
but
power because of its explanatory ability. You can say this is happening because of this, and you can show that it happens again and again.
Right. Specifically, the work that for me solidified my ideology was Lenin's imperialism, because he could have written that. He could have written that shit like a week ago. Maybe some of the numbers have changed, but the dynamic is essentially the same. And like one of the most painful things about reading Lenin is that the problems have not resolved themselves, and that like Marxism-Leninism was an incredibly good model for that specific moment in time, and like can serve as a very good revolutionary model under specific conditions. I think that's also why I've opened myself up to like a broader scope of different flavors of Marxism, I guess, over time, and just looking at like, how can you apply theory to like an American context? America is such an oddball.
Yeah, I think that's something that's so very little done. I feel like so many people who call themselves Marxists just kind of try to copy paste what the Bolsheviks did into America, which I don't know if y'all know this, but in 21st century America, we do not live under a Tsarist autocratic regime in an agricultural economy.
Holy shit, dude, are you serious?
Yeah, I know, right?
At the time, weren't they all saying that, like, I'm not super informed of this, but my understanding was that they were like some of the societal and like economic changes happening in like Western Europe, like, oh, that's not gonna be able to happen in Russia because Russia's like a different game. It's like a different thing.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
actually,
in that way,
that
the
was a
U.S.
big
is
piece
kind
of
of a
it.
similar.
The way the revolution worked out was incredibly specific, right? Both because there was an autocratic government, which means that they had to operate in cadre underground organizations as a revolutionary organization, because of the law of uneven and combined development, which means that like Russia is kind of importing modern technology and practices without the long development period. So like you have a massive growth of an industrial working class, but not a corresponding growth in the strength of the capitalist class, who capital is largely foreign capital in Russia at that time, right? So there are like all these very specific conditions that you wouldn't get in, say, Western Europe or like Germany. And so like after the revolution in the Comintern, the Bolsheviks actually tried to push a policy of like, y'all need to do your own thing, figure out your own conditions, your own strategies. But because the Bolsheviks were the dominant group in the Comintern, and they had been successful in their own revolution, people just ended up emulating their model and their methods. And, well, we see how well that worked out.
Well, I mean, there were some situations in which, you know...
I'm always happy to debate what's applicable nowadays or what lessons we should learn. I don't know how strictly y'all want to, like, keep to a political education interview kind of thing.
I just got kind of mesmerized by, like, watching your, what's it called? Your, like...
The waveform.
Yeah, the waveform. And then I started thinking about, like, other countries that implemented similar revolutionary models, and there were successes, but they were short-lived, which breaks my fucking heart. I always come back to Thomas Sankara because it's one of the most recent inspirational stories that...
What is this?
You don't know about Thomas Sankara?
No.
You should listen
Oh my
to,
god, dude.
This podcast
I did a whole
episode,
I did a whole
whatever
episode about it. Basically
the former president of Burkina Faso?
Yeah, Burkina Faso used to be a French colony called Upper Volta, and what he managed to do in just a few short years was pretty amazing. I mean, by any standard. Just vastly improved quality of life for almost every resident of that country, despite it being like very underdeveloped technologically, and contemporaneously, like all of its recent history was just living under the fucking boot of the French Empire. And like they managed to set up railroads throughout the entire country, connecting like people who had never been able to travel from city to city before. He vaccinated basically the entire population for the first time from like smallpox and measles. Even the World Health Organization branded it as like a major success. His foundation for completely overhauling the country from a French colony with the tribal structure was basically being subsidized by the French because it was a way for the French Empire to maintain this...
To subjugate them.
Yeah, like basically there were a bunch of small capitalists. Like, and in Burkina Faso, there were tribal leaders that were exploiting the Burkinabe people. You know, they would charge them just to exist and reap almost all of the financial rewards from everyone's labor. I mean, it was basically slavery, you know, maintaining like a sort of feudal hierarchy. And Thomas Sankara was able to change the court systems, change the education systems. He mandated that government employees all made a very meager but relatively sufficient amount, changed the entire fleet of government vehicles so that everything was locally produced. Everybody drove like the Renault 5. Nobody flew first class. Like basically he made the government a government of the people. And he also elevated women to like significantly higher social status by allowing them to train in the military. And it was basically like a motorcycle gang that protected him when he was...
Motorcade.
Yeah, motorcade. That's what it's fucking called. His personal motorcade was all female. And he spoke about how like men should once in a while try and do like half the shit that women do to keep the household from falling apart. He was just a fucking great guy. And what happened in the end was his best friend assassinated him and took over power.
They were in a band
together,
a jazz band.
His best friend sent a brigade of soldiers to assassinate him, and They basically mutilated his body and buried it in an unmarked grave somewhere that was recently discovered. And finally, that guy, Blaise Compaoré, is officially been charged with Thomas Sankar's murder. And hopefully he'll be tried and imprisoned for it, but I doubt it because he escaped to like the Ivory Coast. So yeah, the whole story is fucking fascinating.
Well, I learned something new.
Yeah, listen to that. What is it, episode 12 or something like that? We did a whole
Yeah, I
episode.
just put the link in the Discord. Beautiful.
It always seems that like all these people that kind of emulate or try to copy practices from the Russian or the Chinese revolutions or the Cuban revolutions or whatever, like it always seems to happen in undeveloped or underdeveloped countries, mostly feudal or agricultural based, right? Like
Exactly.
There hasn't been a successful revolution in a Western country, right? Which makes me think needs a different strategy. Just to bring it back full
100%.
circle, like this is something I think isn't done very frequently in America, right? Like I don't think people think critically about like, well, what would a revolutionary strategy in 21st century America really look like?
I think you're 100% right. And I think what we're lacking somewhat in education is like, how do you grapple with the company like Amazon? Because I mean, we're almost at the point where it's not even like we're dealing with like nations. We're dealing with companies now.
Yeah, you send the head of the company to space. That's how you take care of. That's how you do it.
But think about
You have to
that.
trick them into thinking it's their idea, though.
Think about that. There's one fucking guy that owns more money than we and everybody we will ever know will ever make.
Doesn't that just make him more like a king than like a country, though?
Well, no, because he's not the king of anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Capital is
He's the king of capitalism. Yeah.
transnational.
He has the most money, so
Like the Amazon empire is worldwide. How do you
soon
deal?
to be intergalactic. I mean,
Yeah,
guys,
great. Interplanetary.
there's going to be an
at the very
Amazon
least.
on Mars before there's astronauts in one of their brick and mortar stores.
Sorry,
Before there's anybody.
I didn't mean to get us into the Posadist realm.
Wait, what?
So I don't know anything about Posadists other than they have something about freeing the dolphins.
Oh, dude, it is fun. It is
Oh
some
wait,
fun
do they
shit.
want? Are those people want to blow up everything, or is it somebody else?
Yes,
I
no,
think
that's a
so, right?
Posadist.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, okay.
Can't
Yeah.
tell if they're ironic
Whole
or
What about the
Condal has
dolphins?
taught me well.
They want to free all the dolphins.
No,
Well, I
no.
mean,
So
yeah,
the dolphin.
sure.
Okay, so
Okay.
the dolphin thing is like,
Is that
guys-
from like
do you guys know
Hitchhiker's
about?
Guide to the Galaxy?
You guys know
Yes.
like all the crazy like intelligence organization like experiments they did in ESP and all that shit.
Oh yeah, they did
The
that.
CIA
They
did
did
it,
that in my
Soviet
university.
Union.
They did that in McGill.
Yeah,
Oh,
so the reason that dolphins are so closely associated with Posadism is because probably somebody that Posadis himself was affiliated with conducted a bunch of experiments with human and dolphin ESP and like really just fucking just completely embraced that idea and thought that like dolphins would be like a companion species with which we could like
Wow.
fucking yeah, just very strange. I could explain it and it wouldn't make any more sense if I got into the details. So
That's
yeah,
Their Wikipedia page is kind of fun, though.
I mean the guy's name
They
wasn't
argue
even actually
that only
Posadis.
communism can allow the development of interplanetary travel, and therefore conclude that any visiting aliens from other planets must live in highly advanced communist societies and are bound to help Earth-based communists with bringing about the proletarian revolution.
Yeah, like it's I love
They've
the
watched a lot of Star Trek.
it's like a spectacle. Posadism is great, but the truth is that it was basically a fucking cult, and Posadis himself was a shitty guy. So
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys like seen a picture of him before now?
no, I've just
I was today years old when I saw a picture of Jay Posad. And he looks like what's the guy's name in Back to the Future?
Doc Brown?
Yes.
The
Oh, he
guy
totally
who's
looks
not
like
more-
Doc Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Except like more haggard.
yeah, Posadism was definitely again a product of its time. It was like nuclear brinksmanship plus ESP experiments.
All right.
Flying saucers and the socialist future of mankind.
Like just combine all the crazy like CIA conspiracy theories from like 1950 to 1970, and that's what Posadism is. Oh, and communism too. So it's that plus communism.
Do we want to wrap up or?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, we should probably
Yeah, I
ask.
feel like we've gone pretty far. I feel like I did too much talking. I don't know why I talked so much.
Because you're so much smarter than us, because you read all the books. I need more political education. I'll admit it right now.
I need like any political education. I'm just in a very weird phase of my mental health where I'm like, well, what if I pick the wrong socialism? And then I feel foolish later on because I picked the wrong one and I had sincerely held beliefs. Oh dear.
I do want to get in like these. I feel like these questions are the ones that are most important. So like, what are you guys doing? Like, where do you go from here? Are you studying anything at current?
Yeah, what are you doing right now?
Oh, right now I'm on this podcast. Yeah, well, so I'll say, I don't know if this is what you meant, so I'll answer two ways. One of like, political education working group is doing like basic socialist theory courses to like introduce people to basic socialist theory. So like we did a What is Socialism 101. We're going to have a What is the State 101 coming up. And like we're trying to raise level of debate. We're doing by having debates and just like getting people talking about things in a socialist way. But if you meant like me personally, I'm reading like 12 different books.
Oh.
I'm just finishing October by China Mieville, the history of the Russian Revolution from February to October. I just started The Art of Freedom, which covers the Kurdish revolutionary struggle. There's my time with the Red Army faction, which is about, I don't know, have you all heard of the Red Army faction?
No.
They're like, do you know the Weather Underground? Yeah, so this is like the German version of that. They're actually like modern isolation cells in prisons, whatever those are called. Solitary confinement. Like the modern solitary confinement was like experimented on the people of the Red Army faction who were political prisoners in Germany. I'm also reading a lot of Zizek.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
yeah.
I love Zizek. He's like dessert, I guess. That's probably the, like, if you're...
is way too hefty for dessert.
I don't know, man. If I'm reading theory and then I go to Zizek, he's like, what is the penis? Like,
Oh my god.
He wrote a pretty cool thing about, I keep doing this. I keep interjecting with like my own tidbits of information.
Yeah.
I already am eating.
Yeah, other people interject
from the trash can all the time.
There it is.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Chris? What are you just chilling?
Yeah, at the moment, just listening.
All right.
Fuck yeah.
This
Do you guys
is
have
maybe an
any...
example of the people of two people having more political education.
Yeah, you become chill.
Yeah, you're so zen that you don't even...
No. I've been like, they were like, oh yeah, that sounds good. That makes sense.
Oh yeah. I still don't get it.
Anyway,
I'm saying in the beginning, they said like we need more political education because otherwise we just end up listening to people who sound like they're more politically educated.
Yeah,
true.
Oh.
Bring it back.
Okay, so
very metatextual, I like it.
What is the most difficult and challenging, but also conversely the most rewarding aspects of organizing?
I feel like I've talked a lot. Chris, you wanna take this?
Sure. Most challenging is when you don't have capacity. So far, in my experience, like when you go from a continuing campaign, especially when you have a lot of momentum, and then let's say something happens that takes away the momentum. Say like with the vaccination, COVID vaccines, there was a lot of momentum, a lot of pressure, a lot of organizations going until they said that they would agree to basically do what we said, but not really. And they did that to take the pressure off, and ever since then, it was like nothing. So when that kind of stuff happens, it's like, how do you redefine the conversation and basically start from scratch? But the rewarding part is when you do have a good turnout. Like if I think back to like the Palestine rallies, when it was huge, we had thousands of people come out, and it's impossible to ignore, and then have something happen within a few days that does help and bring attention to that issue. You can't really imagine that happening even a few years ago. Seeing the transformation take place where you're finally able to like see that your continued efforts have an impact.
Oh, hell yeah. That was like the best answer I could have possibly asked for. That was fantastic.
All right.
Sorry, I don't know why that sounded sarcastic, but it wasn't.
It didn't.
Lastly, how can people get involved and
Yes.
where can they find you? God, Scott, I'm the one who has to edit this shit, okay?
Sorry.
Feel bad for me.
I
I
do.
want sympathy.
I love you and I'm sorry.
Give me your sympathy.
Oh my god! All right. Jesus Lord. Yes. How can people get involved? Where can people find you all?
You can get involved by emailing education@bostondsa.org, and you can find me at my house.
Excellent.
Based.
All right.
Take us out.
I will take us out. All right. My name is Scott. You can find me on the internet at Sweaty Wife.
Sweaty Wife.
Yeah, Jesus. That's my name on Bandcamp. On SoundCloud, Instagram. I make some music. If you guys didn't know, you can listen to it. I'm working on an album right now. I don't know. It'll be done eventually. Yeah, I'm also Death Mullet on Twitter. Anyone want it to Ellie or Sarah? Because you guys can be found at the same location.
I'm going right now. I'm laying in bed with my headset on because I don't want to do this anymore. I'm Sarah.
Thanks for keeping the morale up.
Brutally honest. Jeez.
No, I was gonna leave, but then I was like, oh, we'll do the outros right now. But anyway, look, man, you just told us to advocate for ourselves. Anyway, I'm Sarah. I am also at my house, rather my apartment, and that's where you'll find me, and nowhere else because I have AC here. So yes, Ellie, you go next.
Okay. Yeah, whatever. I'm I'm Ellie, and you can't find me anywhere. But yeah, you know what I'm gonna say right now, which is that my headmate Hava does psychic readings, and if you want one, you should email her.
Darmok and Gillard at Tanagra.
His eyes uncovered!
You should email Hava.
Sound drops. All right.
Yeah. Well, that's what's gonna happen if you have them.
Wait.
Yeah, email Hava at.
What kind of psychic readings? Like tarot card? Like if I just say like do my reading, will I get? And are they good? Are they accurate?
Are they good? Well, you can ask Binks. She did one for Binks, and apparently everything that she said to Binks was accurate. I don't know. She usually will have people like tell her the name of an album or an artist that they really like, and then she'll listen to it. I don't know. She's trying to like branch out. She's trying to like find ways to make it profitable. But yeah, tell your friends. Email her at darmokxjalad@gmail.com. DARMOKXJALAD.
Some Star Trek, everyone.
So that was actually an accurate soundbite.
Yeah.
Which I was not expecting. That's great.
Thank you.
I say this every week, so he knows what to do.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stop interrupting so we can close out. I apologize.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's cool. Jesse,
do
you want to go before?
Do you guys have any social media you want to share, or you just want to?
Yeah.
I'm going to be joining the political education working groups more. I do work also in the internationalism working group. We meet the third Thursday of every month at 7. Also, my nickname is Comrade Gup if you're looking for me online.
Excellent.
Gup.
I am not on social media, so won't find me there.
And I'm Jesse.
There we go.
You can find my music on soundcloud.com/contingentsboston. And remember to hit up comrade-rosie.org. Select the Getting Involved tab and choose one or more mutual aid groups to donate your time, labor, and or money to because people really need your help right now. All right. Love ya.
Yeah, we love ya. Yes, get involved in your local mutual aid or workers' tenants, your local whatever. Just do something with your time that is productive. What we say is Batankdo every week.
Batankdo!
Oh, God, we are such... Anyways. We're such lovers.
I don't mean I'm not, so.
All right, good night, everyone. That was fun.
It's late. It's late. It's hot. It's spicy.
It's hot and spicy.
It's dicey. and
All
it's
right.
not so nicey.
I seriously don't know how to hang
Wait.
up.
We need the animal sound, Scott. I'm not gonna fucking.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm.
Come on, Scott.
I'm
Okay,
firm
I'm
on
finding
this.
like I've pretty
You
much
see the
played all-
giraffes again.
I don't have
have
a
a
giraffe
giraffe.
sound. We already went over this.
Oh, hey,
Ma.
hey.
Ma.
Oh shit!
This is what the giraffes sound
Oh
like.
fuck! Dude.
Pretty good.
All right.
Just end
Thanks.
on a fucking pig.
Thanks.
Jeez.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming out.